Hi, I am so happy to be back with all of you, and today I wanted to talk about what I did after I got my multiple sclerosis diagnosis. And one of the first thing I actually decided to do was stop eating gluten and sugar. And this actually happened pretty organically because when I got that diagnosis within 24 hours of getting it, I told myself I would do everything in my power to heal, or at least to stay super healthy, because with multiple sclerosis some people have symptoms once in their life and never suffer from anything again. Others it's not that way, but it can go very differently depending on different people. And so I told myself I would do everything in my control so that in my case I would remain as healthy as possible, at least doing within what is in my control. And then, yeah, like I would stay as healthy as possible, and I could even be the first person to heal from multiple sclerosis. I mean, who knows? Science is moving so fast. I really, within 24 hours of my diagnosis, I decided that I would do this and I would commit. And to be honest, like, it wasn't always easy, but the first thing I did was I stopped eating gluten because I realized I was super intolerant to gluten, so that wasn't helping anything. And then I stopped eating processed sugar. I also stopped eating lactose products. I did this because I followed a diet recommended for multiple sclerosis, but obviously if you are thinking about making drastic changes into your life, like, I am not a doctor, I am just sharing my personal experience. If you want to make such changes, I would recommend you reach out to an actual professional and discuss what that looks like for you. So here I am really only talking about my own experience, but I did this and I've stopped eating all of this for 2.5 years now. I'm looking to maybe reintroduce lactose products. I don't want to reintroduce gluten because I just, once I stopped eating gluten, I realized how sick it made me, so I really do not want to eat it again. And processed sugar, I think I realized how much more energy I have now not eating processed sugar, so definitely something I want to stick with. But that was the first thing I did, and then I looked into everything, energetic work, anything that could help. I started walking more every day. I started prioritizing my sleep. I started prioritizing connection because this is good for your health, mental health as well. Yeah, I just started making changes. I started working on my mindset pretty consistently. And all of this has made me feel the greatest I've felt in years, which is so weird to do, but I feel and am healthier than I was before my diagnosis. I lost 10 kilograms due to all the changes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I never feel tired, I never feel anything, but I feel better mentally and physically, and that's something I am very grateful for. But the thing is, when a lot of the time I found around me when I'm making changes quickly, or what can feel quickly to some, again, we all have our own timelines. I think people forget that for me, this was kind of something that took a long time to happen. And where it started is when I was 23 years old, I actually burnt out, and that was really rough for me. What followed was depression, and I started feeling better 2 years after I suffered from a second depression and pretty high anxiety. And I realized something truly had to change. Like, this was just not possible. I could not continue like that. I told myself that would not happen. And so when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I had already had these different events in my life that had forced me, or rather where I had committed to make changes. And this is maybe why this also allowed me to commit and make the change. So I am pretty disciplined, but it's really something I had to build over time. And it is something that I had to start small and accept. I talked in another video about acceptance and surrendering. I had to accept that it wasn't perfect, and I had to accept that initially discipline looked like maybe going out for a walk every day, even if it was 5-10 minutes, when initially I wasn't walking every day and things like that. So I think discipline is something that's built over time, and also something that you need to um, accept that it's not always going to be perfect. I also have this theory that actually I'm not the one, I think one of my mentors talked to me about this first, but having a day in your week where you do nothing, and again, not possible. Sometimes we have obligations, sometimes we have kids. I do not have kids, so it's a lot easier to do in my own case, but I will have a day now in my week where it's kind of a day for myself. Like, I will do whatever I want. My partner knows that. I'll eat whenever I want during the day. I will just follow my own rhythm 100%. And someday I'll do things during that day. Some days all I'll do will be reading and taking naps. Like, it will absolutely depend on how I feel. But I think this really helps as well. Being disciplined is that I do have kind of a day where I accept that I'm not disciplined and I feel really good about it. So yeah, I think those are things that have really made a difference in my life. And the reason I wanted to do this video is actually because I want to encourage you, if you're in a place in your life where you feel that you can't change and things aren't gonna get better, I am here to tell you that things can get better. Anything truly is possible, anything. And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't think it will be easy, but I think it will be really, really that word is hard to say for me. Really rewarding in the end. When you commit to yourself, when you commit to getting better. And the thing as well is, the better you get, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, the better people around you will get, because you're kind of like, you're doing this for yourself, but also whether you want it or not, it actually reverberate. Like, I mean, there's this snowball effect onto the people that you love, who you care for, who you see, because they see that you're trading a path, you're showing what's possible, and it is possible, and that makes them want to get their life better as well. And also, like, you're just a nicer person. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I never get mad, I never get frustrated, that would be absolutely wrong, but generally I'm a lot more optimistic and happy. And so I think that's also the type of energy that is infectious, and people are just so happy to be around you. And yeah, I don't know, I guess, yeah, I'm probably losing my train of thoughts, but I really want to say that at the end of the day, you get to decide. And having gone through mental health issues, having gone through my multiple sclerosis diagnosis, I know you're not in control of everything. I know sometimes, like, it is really hard, but you still get to make a choice, right? When you are undergoing a depression, I remember, like, the second time I went through a depression, 2 years after my burnout and depression, I would tell myself that I would do one thing a day, and that one thing was I work remotely, so I would get out. I lived in New Zealand at the time, so I would get out of the house, walk to the co-working space, or take the bus, whatever, and then usually I would walk back. At least it was a 40-minute walk, but it was in Wellington in New Zealand, and you would go through forest, up a hill. Like, it was really nice. So I would usually take the bus, go a couple of hours to the co-working space to socialize, see people, get out of the house. Then some days I would go to a climbing gym, a bouldering gym that was really close. Someday I would go home, and after, like, I would get home and I would do nothing. Like, literally I would watch series all day long and just wait for my partner to get home. But I think this is when I really truly, and now that I'm saying this, realizing that this is where I learned what discipline is. And it wasn't about doing all the things, it was about doing one thing consistently. And this, on top of being, supported medically and psychologically, I think truly made the biggest difference. And this is when discipline was cemented for me, because I realized that when you commit to something and you stick with it, even when you don't want to, like, I mean, I remember, like, I didn't want to do anything, like, this, what depression is, like, I just didn't feel anything, I didn't want to do anything, but I had committed to it, so I was doing it. And bit by bit it helped, and then by the end of 6 months I felt so good, the best I had felt in like years. I had joined a running club, I was bouldering still, I was traveling every weekend. Yeah, I just felt much better. I was always willing to go on adventures, I wanted to go on adventures. So yeah, and then this is very personal, right? We all analyze things the way we want to, but for me, every time something mentally or physically happened to me, I chose to see it as a sign of my body, my mind, that things needed to change. And looking back, like, I saw that before those things happened to me, I was not in the greatest place. I had, for some reason, like, I had let part of myself go that I really loved. Like, before my second depression, it was the first time that I was living with someone else, with my partner. And for some weird reason, like, I would spend all of my time at home. I was working remotely for the first time as well, so I would get up, start working at 7:30 as long as I had gotten up, work the whole day. Like, I would not go to a co-working space. I was in a new city and I wasn't making time to make friends. Like, this was very unusual for me, who had spent like all of the past years traveling, making friends, like connecting with people, going outside. It was just very unusual. So for a year and a half, I had gotten into a pattern that wasn't super healthy. And then I moved to New Zealand with my partner and it all came crashing down. And this is when, like, I didn't have the realization right away, obviously, but I realized that the crash down was coming. So when it happened, I mean, yeah, it was a signal. So again, like, you choose to give purpose to things. You choose, I am not saying everything that happens to you happens for a reason. I think it is very personal. I think in my case, when it comes to things that have happened to my own body and mind, this is how I decide to see it, as signals that my body and mind are giving me that something's not going right in my life, and I am refusing to see it, so I'm being pushed to see it. So yeah, and that is also what makes it easier to commit. Not easier, but this is what make me having this mindset of saying, like, this is happening because for my greatest good, in the sense that, like, my body, my mind knows something that I'm refusing to see. Then if I want to stay healthy, if I want to keep taking care of myself, my body, my mind, then I need to change something. And so then I commit, I become disciplined about it. And yeah, so if you're in this place right now, like, no, there's no small place to start. You can start wherever you want, but I'm not special. Like, I mean, I am the hero of my own story. I am my own person. This is my life. But what I mean is, it is accessible to other persons. You can do it too. And I hope you do it too, even if it's starting with something small. And if you've enjoyed this conversation today, I hope you will subscribe. I hope you will share in the comments how you felt about this video. And I am really looking forward to having you along the journey with me. Talk to you soon.